Rolling with Nat 20. I'm Nat 20, and today we are going to be playing Keeper RL's Alpha 11 version, which just released a few hours ago. I'm rather excited. Most of the changes in this version don't seem to affect what I know about the game so far. They mostly seem to be additive things, bug fixes, and art changes. So I feel like I probably have a pretty good idea of what it is that we're going to be doing. So what I start off doing is I'm going to grab our keeper and I'm going to explore the area so that I know where everything is around where I want to start my dungeon, and start to really get a good idea of where I would actually like the entrance of the dungeon to begin. Now previously I used to set the imps to do some sort of task while I'm doing this, but I've found out that I kinda don't like them having tasks already set up. I want to know where my dungeon's going to be built, which seems to be here. Now I hit U to escape out of the possession of the keeper mode, and we can start building our dungeon here, as we know that we're not going to bleed out and end up out in the overworld anymore now that we can see more of the mountain. So with this, we're going to expand into here just a little bit. We're going to plan out a little 5x5 room just to start. I think that's 5. It's 5, 3, 4, 5. A little 5x5 room, and that is ultimately going to be our training room. Move this down a little bit here, and it might be a good idea to take some of this iron ore, because we are going to need it. Iron ore is used in all of these things over here: prisons, torture rooms, training rooms. Training rooms being the most important of those for us, but prison and torture rooms can be super helpful a little later down the line. With that, we are going to need a storage room, so why not expand this out? Storage room could actually be rather sizable. That would be okay in my book. Alright. From here we will expand out and plan out possibly just making the storage rooms gigantic. You know, maybe this won't all be the storage room. Maybe instead of having walls that separate our forge and lab like we usually do. I'm rethinking this as I'm remembering what has changed in this build. Because one of the things that has changed is we now have access to putting torches on walls, which we need for things like the laboratory and workshop, not things like the storage unit, so we don't have to worry about that, but we will need that for things like the laboratory and the workshop. So it is important to leave walls up so that we can have torches in smart locations. So I think we'll actually just expand that out and leave that wall there as a place that we're going to build torches on. Then we're going to come up here and we're going to build a very roundabout way up into this area so that this can be our library. Ooh, we definitely don't want that. Undo this line. So this can be our library where our keeper's going to hang out. So let's queue that up. Come over here, summon some more imps. I like to blow all my starting mana on more imps, which will result in us having 10, which I find to be an excellent number for imps. Now, we don't want to have them build the training room right away because we're just pre-planning that room out. That is not our most important room. The two most important things that we need to do right now to start with is build a storage room and to build a library. Now, we're going to need the storage room for the library, otherwise I would say that the library is the most important thing. So the library is going to allow us to increase our mana, which will allow us access to research, will allow access to basically everything new and fun that we could get in this game other than sitting here digging holes and summoning imps. So we're just going to have to wait out while they dig out this. We'll assign this as a storage room now. Boom. And some of you may be familiar, but usually when every new version of the alpha comes out, I like to make a tutorial video on it, and this time I'm doing this short series of how to play through the game in less of a tutorial format and more of just a let's play format, because the changes to the alpha this time, the changes to the game in alpha 11 versus 10, though are important and do warrant a new alpha, they aren't necessarily changing the beginning of the game. Now, I prematurely built that library because I forgot that before that we need to cut down some trees to get some wood, and then they're actually going to need to take the wood into the storage room to build the library. Now, while they're doing that, we can build some torches around everywhere on the walls to illuminate our library, which is going to be important, as our library runs off of room efficiency, which is an equation in the game that is determined by nearby tiles and light. So since this has both light and only a single nearby tile to them, 50%. But if we get more of these built out, we will be able to reach 100% in some of the more inner tiles like these that are going to be completely surrounded. Now, I'm not 100% sure if the ones that are on the corners affected or not, but I like to just build square rooms as it seems the most efficient use of my materials. You don't really need efficient use of materials in regards to the library, as wood is pretty abundant. And now that that is happening, we are going to, oops, didn't mean to hit sorcery, meant to hit library. Now we have access to crafting, which we're going to want, because with crafting we can build a forge. But I want to test something. The biggest question that I have had since doing the tutorials is, how do you get people to migrate to your town? Basically, the specific question is, how do you build beds? And that's because earlier builds of the earlier versions of this game required you to build individual beds for your individual creatures. Now the creatures will bring their own beds when they come migrate. The trick is convincing them to migrate. Now, if you notice, a 4x4 dormitory has been built. We're not getting any migrants. I'm nearly certain that the answer is that we need a treasure room. I don't think that we actually need any gold to put in our treasure room, but I do think we need a treasure room just to kind of prove to our newly come migrants that they will get paid eventually. We're working on it. So now we're going to build out this treasure room, and we're going to sit on that treasure room and not change too much. Maybe build out the library a little bit and see if any migrants come. And if I'm wrong, we'll get some treasure in there, and we're going to kind of play around with this and try to figure this out as a team, because I'm not entirely sure what the issue is, and I'd be really interested to figure out exactly what it is that triggers migrants coming. So it doesn't seem any come. Usually they come pretty immediately when the conditions are met. So I'm going to actually go use some of my time and imps to get some gold and see if that's what will do it. We'll also unlock alchemy, since alchemy will give us access to the lab, which gives us the ability to make potions, which is all around good and helpful. Alright. Oh, there's an ent. Crap. We don't have anything to defend. Look, that ent is just going to ravage our imps or not. It's a bit of an unfortunate scenario we're in. It looks like he didn't really kill any imps. That's good. Ents sort of just show up when you're taking down too much forest. They're the keepers of the forest. They're upset with you for killing their friends, and they're going to take you out. But sometimes they just kill a dude and disappear. Sometimes they just show up and disappear. Sometimes they'll ravage an entire group of dudes. It's kind of up in the air. Ents are a little bit scary. They're not the scariest thing in the game, though, so don't worry too much about them. I'm not worried that we ended up having to deal with an ent before we even got minions to fight them. So I just got sorcery so that our keeper can actually have some spells to defend himself, and I'm wondering if that will help in getting migrants, but it seems like the magic answer now might actually be the dormitory and money. So we're going to see what happens when we get some of this money over here. Go, my little imps, get your money. While we do that, we'll talk about some of the changes to the aesthetics of the game. If you're familiar with Keep Your RL, you'll notice that the UI has changed a lot. This is no longer over here in the corner, it's in the bottom, it's easy to see. If you hover over it, it gives you intelligent tooltips telling you what these things are. This is down here where it's easy to see instead of over here. Everything just looks a little more intelligently put out. There's little designs of cool looking things in the places of the UI that don't really have anything important going on. Okay, so we got some money. We got our dorms. Nobody's showing up. Okay, I have another theory, that we can only get people when we start getting the rooms that they are going to be working in. So we will build a forge over here in the hopes that we're going to end up getting some goblins to join us, which used to be gnomes in the previous build, but gnomes have been changed to goblins. Goblins, which were the next level in the next tier of minion you can get, have been renamed orcs, and ogres are still ogres. Now we have a little bit of a forge over here, and that doesn't seem to be helping anything. Perhaps this is too small. Let's expand it a little bit and see if we have any success after that. Interesting. While we're really trying to suss out what it is that allows me to get more minions, we are having an incredible amount of trouble getting the minions. This must be the issue that everybody else has been dealing with. I've never had this happen before. Well, we will have to... Oh, I don't want to build a dorm. I want to cut in here. I'm going to gather up some more resources while I think about what other things I can try, because I've never had the issue of minions not showing up. Then again, what do I do differently? Well, let's build a small little lab over here. And I do mean small because stone is relatively scarce. I'm gonna have to put some torches up. We're actually gonna have to go dig out some more stone. That's not gonna be a problem. So there's some right here. Now, we've yet to get any sort of migrants. Maybe I need a training room. I don't believe so. I believe I've gotten migrants before without a trading room. But perhaps this will allow... Oh, a goblin has joined. Okay, maybe the training room is the answer. I thought I'd gotten recruits before getting a training room, but the second I build a training room, goblins start showing up. So there we go. I don't know what combination of things. I'll probably play around with it in the future and try to get back to you on exactly what happened. But now we're starting to get goblins, which are going to be our first and weakest units, but they're mostly going to be taking care of the workshop and handling that front. Ooh, and a shaman. Now I'm pretty sure that we got the shaman because we started building the laboratory, and I'm really excited about the shaman because the shaman is unique in the fact that we can allow him to study as opposed to crafting or this lazy asshole sleeping. You're not going to sleep, you're going to go forge. Forge like a man. Study is going to take place in the library, which is going to help us increase our mana even quicker. Oop. I'm not sure if I covered this, but anytime that is happening, that is because usually when you shift click, it will allow you to create an entire box of whatever it is you're trying to do. Digging, building a room. However, for whatever reason, the right shift doesn't work. Only the left shift. At least on my keyboard. My guess is that this is just a slight little alpha hiccup, and I'll address it to the developer later, and we'll probably see it working in the next build. I can't imagine that it is that big of an issue. So we are starting to get some forces. I want to try to figure out what susses out ogres. So I'm going to actually start out by expanding the dorm and seeing if that will get us some ogres. You are going to be set to study so that we can get more mana quickly, and we are going to get traps so that we can play around with those when the time comes. As well as we're also going to go and install an eyeball outside to watch and make sure that nothing terrible happens. Well, I mean, it's not going to really prevent terrible things from happening, but it's going to inform us of them. We're not going to get snuck up on, is the most important thing. Alright, I'm going to come over here and plan out to dig out the rest of the important minerals of what I will refer to as my mine. Oop. That time I just forgot to hit shift altogether, but it worked out. I could just paste it pretty easily. Shift. Get it. Alright. Now, for those of you who've seen my previous tutorials, right around this point you might be freaking out, yelling, Nat 20, Nat 20! You haven't built the dragon shrine! The dragon is gonna come and tear your shit up when day comes up. Well, the dragon might do that, but shrines have temporarily been removed from the game as the developer did not enjoy exactly how he implemented them. They weren't working out how he wanted. I'm not entirely sure what he was going for, and that was part of what his complaint was that the way he developed it, it was very unclear what to do with any of the shrines other than the dragon shrine, which was more of an annoyance to forget rather than something that was fun. So he removed them, and he's rethinking exactly what it's going to be in the game, because shrines will be making a return in later builds, but they will not be whatever they were previously. That honestly, my playing around was unable to figure out what it was that they were trying to accomplish with that. Okay, now that we've expanded this out, oh, how did that not get dug out? Weird. Alright, while they're digging that out, we can turn the rest of this into dorms, and I think by expanding this out we will hopefully get ogres. If not, my next guess would be that I want to blow out this wall and make my training room a little bigger. Nope, I just needed a bigger dormitory. So bigger dormitory unlocks access to ogres, it seems. And I'm pretty sure that is also because I already had the training room. I can't say for certain, but I think that because I had the training room and the bigger dormitory and whatever it is that we did to get goblins, we get ogres. Same as orcs. Orcs might just be the bigger dormitory. I don't know about the need for the training room. Anyway, what shall we do from here? Let's see what sort of stuff that we can upgrade in here. We can get Kraken breeding, which sounds cool. I don't really know too much about that. That was part of Alpha 10, but I don't really know what you can do with Kraken breeding. Archery is always important, especially for our keeper. Our keeper's really going to be reliant on archery and his spells if he ever gets in a sticky situation. Hopefully he won't get in that situation. Hopefully we'll keep him nice and safe in his library where he can study all of his days away about how he's going to destroy the foes of the map, which I have no idea where they are. Actually, that sounds like a pretty good next step. Let's expand out just a little. We don't need too much. We'll do it right over here because I don't think we're going to be building out the dorms any further. At least, not this way. So we're going to build out just a small little room that we're going to turn into a beast lair. I'm pretty sure that all you need to populate a beast lair with beasts is the beast lair. And one of the weakest beasts that we will be getting is a raven that I would love to use to explore the area and figure out where our foes are and maybe start planning out attacks. It is to my understanding that the previous builds had 5 foes. I mean, I know that. But this build, I believe, has a 6th foe, a goblin army that is not your friends. They are out to get you, and thusly you are out to get them. Whoa, what the fuck are you? There's a harpy in my dungeon. Well, this is interesting. Ogre? Why are you crafting, Ogre? I thought the Ogre was smart enough to know that he should be training. Oh well. At least that puts him close to where the harpy is. Because with his bare fists, I'm going to have him go after that harpy. Harpy, how did you even get through the training room? Die, harpy. What are you doing? Die, harpy. What are you doing? Oh! Harpies are for our... Huh, I feel silly now. I'd never seen a harpy before, and I kind of just assumed that it wasn't our friend. But apparently a harpy is the new creature that we are getting for having our beast lair. At least I think it's for our beast lair. I don't see a cage opening up in there. Maybe it's the combination of beast lair and dormitory gave us harpy, which is kind of cool. Anyway, this episode's starting to run long, and we'll end with that blunder of me trying to kill one of my own units. Before I forget, get on training, you fool. What are you doing? We need you to be our biggest, toughest brute in the land. So we'll end the episode here, and I'll continue this later. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen so far. We're going to be continuing to explore what this build has and exactly what it takes to survive in it. I'm going to pause just in case terrible things happen that we can't come back from. Save the game and exit. I'll be continuing this. Hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions that have arisen that I was unable to answer before, and if not, maybe they'll just be answered naturally through the gameplay. If not, feel free to ask me any questions, and I will do my best to answer them with my knowledge, or I'll redirect them to the dev and maybe see if he wants to throw an answer our way. Anyway, that's been Rolling with Nat20. I'm Nat20. This is Keeper RL. It's on Steam Greenlight if you want to go check it out. You can also go to the website and get in the alpha buy-in yourself. It's $15. There's a free ASCII version if you would like to check that out. It's just minus the sound and minus the art. Everything else is the same. I will see you next time when we continue our dungeon and see what more this version has in store for us that I'm not aware of. See you guys later.